Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Astrology Now, where we're diving into the new moon in Sagittarius, which occurs on December the 20th, 2025. This is a powerful moment for setting bold intentions and expanding our vision for the future. And with the Sun, Moon, and Venus all aligned in the adventurous sign of Sagittarius, it's a time to dream big and embrace new possibilities. But it's not just about wishful thinking with Saturn and Neptune squaring the new moon, because urging us to ground our dreams in reality and approach them with integrity. So, plus, with Mars and Capricorn nearby, there's a strong call to take action and build something lasting. And this new moon invites us to explore what we truly believe and how we can turn those beliefs in something we can actually live and create. So let's explore how this energy can inspire us to dream with purpose and start building the future we desire. So grab a cuppa, kick back, join Babula and I as we wander across the planetary landscape as it moves from this new moon to the following one, which is in January, new moon in Capricorn. So Babula, here we are again. This is the last episode for 2025. And sorry, and I was just going to say, this new moon is a real mix of bodies in Sagittarius, and I can't wait to hear how you unravel the astrology of this new moon.
Well, that's right. I mean, currently the new moons that we're experiencing over these months are all occurring late in the signs, around 28 degrees, as this one is at 28 degrees of Sagittarius. So that means that this happened with the last one too. They're making strong alignments with these slow-moving outer planets that are in the process of leaving signs. So they're at the end of signs and moving into the next sign. So currently we're having new moons that are really quite powerful because they have these connections to some very strong other planets. And as you said, this one's no exception. So this new moon is in Sagittarius, and if that's all there was to say about it, we'd be talking about celebration and enjoyment and travel and adventure and fun. Exactly, and fun and expansion and horizons and all of that. And that is true. That is the nature of Sagittarian, that wonderful spirit that Sag has to live a big life. I know a lot of Sagittarians and they live a big life. Sagittarius is a sign that doesn't want to miss out on anything. It wants to live life to the full, intellectually as well as like physically, moving around, moving through their life and traveling and experiencing as much as possible. So much to do, so little time sort of thing for Sagittarius.
Yes, I always say we should live 200 years because the first 100 we're just figuring it all out.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. There's such a joy and a lust for life in this sign, and just experience as much as possible and to learn as much as possible and to know and to grow and to expand and then often to teach, in some cases to preach, to really then want to express your knowledge and a point of view. And the word pontificate popped in too. So, we can all, through the sign of Sagittarius, we just naturally want to express an opinion and a point of view and feel that we can speak freely and not be censored or hindered or told you can't say that, because this is the sign that's all about truth.
Exactly. Yeah.
The quest for truth, the search for truth, what does it all mean? And which is why Sagittarians love learning things and they have a philosophical approach to everything. They love to travel because they just want to know, what is it all about?
Yeah. I have to interject there and say it's also about blunt honesty.
It certainly is.
Yes.
Yep. And this is a kind of running joke amongst lots of Sagittarian friends, like, whoops, I've just said it and maybe I shouldn't have said that. And it's just comes straight out because that's just the nature of the sign. Yeah.
Well, being a Sagittarius myself, I'm often going, oh, did I say that out loud? Like, what do I think thinking.
I know, and I often say there's no kind of internal censorship mechanism. There's before you're even aware that the thought is there, it's already being spoken.
Yeah,
And because it's the arrow, isn't it? It's the center. He's shooting arrows, and he's shooting arrows upward. That quest for higher knowledge, higher truth, and it has to be spoken and shared. So that's why this sign, you'll see it very strong in all forms of media. Publishing, doing podcasts, teachers, lots of astrologers have a lot of Sag in their chart. There's just a lot to learn and a lot to then share with other people.
yeah,
And it's fire, so there's a lot of energy here.
yeah,
A lot of enthusiasm and passion and energy that comes with that sign.
yeah. And I think Sagittarius, because I'm different. I have Saturn on my sun, but I'm also, I think it's a very friendly, um, extends a hand of friendship sort of sign. And it's they don't want to make enemies; they'd rather make friends. And if they come across someone, they'd rather say, "Let's put down the sword and have a drink together." That sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Making enemies is not their thing. Not their,
No,
no.
no, there's too many other wonderful things to do and to experience. That's right. And it's by nature it's a sign that has a lot of fun. And I've often said over the years, if I choose to reincarnate another time on planet Earth, I'm putting an order in now to come back as a sage because I have more fun than everybody else. And there's that kind of joyful capacity in Sagittarius to always see the positive, or as much as possible to see the positive and to expect a positive outcome.
Yes, yeah.
And they're often they appear to be lucky a lot. Things tend to go well for them. They live a life often of abundance. And I think a lot of it's got to do with the fact that they have a joyful, positive attitude to life.
Yeah, it's a very expansive sign, which has great potential. Also, they can overindulge as well and things like that
Yeah.
because it is expansive.
Yeah.
So yeah, like all signs, they have they have their good, bad, and ugly, I suppose.
That's right. And I know, like Sag loves to indulge and eat too much and drink too much and party too much and all of that. Um, and you'll see many different versions of that expressed, of course, but there's always this kind of deeper underlying philosophical quest and desire to know and to understand and the bigger picture. What does it all mean, says Sagittarius?
Yeah, and when you're searching for truth, it's also about belief, and when you're finding out things, you're learning wisdom from what you learn, hopefully, and then you apply it. So
That's right.
there's that as well. The older Sagittarian, particularly, I think, as they go through life, become a little bit wiser and maybe
That's
don't
right.
indulge so much, and
That's
that,
that's right.
yeah,
Because their body will be showing the impact of too much indulgence over the years. That's right. And in the body, medically, Sagittarius rules the liver. That's the organ, and of course the hips and the thighs and the legs. So as the Sagittarian ages, if their mobility starts to become impacted, that's quite challenging because it's the signs ruled by the horse.
yes, exactly.
And they want to run and gallop and be free. Freedom is a high value in this sign, and the freedom to live a large life, the freedom to move, the freedom to speak what they want to speak and say what they want to say, very important in this sign.
Yes, yes. But there are other things impinging on this new moon, aren't there?
There certainly are. So I was just going to touch on that, Sag, and we did a big thing about it, but
Yeah.
but it is where we are now. And of course, so what's happening is that there are two planets in late Pisces now, Saturn and Neptune, forming what we call squares to this new moon. So Saturn is at 25 degrees of Pisces, Neptune's at 29 degrees. And Pisces sits in the zodiac in what we call a square. It's like a hard angle. It's a challenging angle, those two signs to each other. And when we're talking about Saturn, Saturn is, in many ways, to Sagittarius in particular, the voice of authority that says, oh, that, well, you can't say that. And Sag is like, well, too late, I've just said it.
Mm,
Um, but Saturn might also then show, well, this is the consequence. You've just really upset somebody, um, or see, Saturn can also represent in the world, the government.
mm, mhm,
And it's interesting here in Australia, Australia's birth chart has a lot of planets in Sagittarius.
mm,
We are a Capricorn country, but a lot of planets in Sag, and there's moves to limit people's freedom of speech.
mm.
And the Sagittarian part of the Australian nature, which is very Sagittarian, is going to find that really, really, really challenging,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
we like to say it how it is, don't we? We like to call a
Totally.
spade, and we don't like to be told that you can't say that. No,
That's right.
no, that's just not the Aussie way.
Absolutely. It absolutely isn't. Or that your freedom of movement is being restricted or limited. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
But there are other ways that Saturn Neptune conjunction in Pisces can be felt with the square to the new moon. Like that new moon energy is like, right, let's go. Let's have, as you said in the introduction, what do I envisage for the future? And how do I move towards that? And I'm inspired. Many Sagittarians, they live through inspiration. They get inspired and excited by possibilities.
mm, mm.
And they just want to keep expanding in that direction. And the Saturn Neptune is, well, yes, but if you look at the reality of the situation, there's something going on with your body that's going to make that more challenging than you'd like it to be, or there's some kind of emotional difficulty going on in your life or with somebody in your life. There might be an elderly parent that you're
Mm.
having to take responsibility for. And the Sagittarian part of us is like, yeah, but I just want to go and travel, or I just want to be free to do this, that, or the other, or socialize with my friends. But I have these responsibilities, or I have these other things going on.
Yeah. I was thinking about this morning, just as a little story. And I was thinking it's like threading a needle for a new beginning with this new moon, but with an old thread. And it reminds me of two dresses I've had hanging in my wardrobe for many months, and each with the seam that had sort of pulled apart.
Right.
And recently I finally got my sewing machine out to fix them, but to do so, I had to deal with the wear and tear of the dress, of what came before it. So I'm sort of trying to find ways to go forward, but I couldn't sew a straight seam. I had to sort of do it in a different way. And I think it's sort of like that there are things from the past or things that like you said, you have to deal with that came before, and to go ahead in this new beginning in a different way.
That's right. We're having, to adapt and adjust and make some allowance for the reality of the circumstances that we find ourselves in. And so I think it's Sag in with the Sag squared by Saturn, particularly the Saturn and the Neptune. The Neptune part of this is, look, I really want to go and travel or have a great holiday or just go and party with my friends because I'm in the mood for that. But I'm actually exhausted. I'm wiped out because it's been such a tough year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And a lot of people are feeling exactly that. They're just feeling like done.
Yeah. And like the reality is, I'd like to do Christmas or I'd like to go on a holiday, but I'm just too tired.
That's right. And that's the Neptune part of it. The Saturn part of it is, well, it includes that feeling of tiredness and exhaustion from everything that's been going on this year. But it can also be, and my circumstances don't allow that right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm just aware, someone in my family system has injured his arm very badly at work, and for 6 months is going to be incapacitated.
Yep.
And that's literally just happened
Yeah.
while he had taken 4 weeks off work to have a great holiday. right? That's the kind of scenarios we're talking about. There's reality, and then so then how do you combine all of that? Okay, this is reality, and I have an injury, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. How do I still enjoy the holiday season and the holiday time? And I'm going to have to find another way to do that,
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, but that's the kind of thing that's going on. So it is a lot. There's also, we can't forget that Venus is in the mix with this new moon. Venus is very close to the new moon,
Mm,
actually,
mm.
in Sag. And because Venus in Sagittarius, she is very excited and thrilled to be in Sagittarius because this is the hard energy and this is the social part of us, that wants to connect with people and be with people. And in Sagittarius, she wants a good time. She wants to have fun.
Yeah,
So, um, so it's important. And, remember that even though the sun is only going to remain in Sagittarius for another day or two after the new moons, because it's coming to the end of Sag now, because it's the new moon, the Sagittarius energy still is relevant for this whole coming lunation cycle, even though the planets are all going to move into Capricorn.
yeah, yeah,
So I think the message will remain is, to enjoy that Sagittarian spirit while also kind of acknowledging the Capricornian energy that's going to be coming in, which we'll talk about in a minute, because they're very different.
yeah. I guess I sort of think, this we've come into in the Western world, those who celebrate Christmas and holidays and all that, we're kicking up our heels and having fun and being social and being with people and yet we have this Capricorn energy that kicks in before Christmas Day and Boxing Day and the week off between Christmas and New Year that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
It's very, very strange how that all works.
I know. Yeah, that's right. And I think, remembering, of course, that these festivals and celebrations, such as Christmas, are in many ways they're kind of manufactured dates. However, they do have an energy because for a long, long time, humanity has invested a lot of energy into these dates. So they do genuinely carry an energy.
I
But
do.
it is interesting, isn't it, that we go from Sag before Christmas, then we come in and it goes into Capricorn, which is a more somber,
Yes.
more serious, hardworking earth sign, and I mean, in the Northern Hemisphere, of course, it's in the dead of winter.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very Capricornian, but down here in the Southern Hemisphere, we're in the peak of summer.
Yeah. It's counterintuitive, isn't it?
I know, it feels like it's back to front. That's probably why they call us the land down under, it's kind of flipped upside down. So that's the new moon, and so again, it's quite significant. There's also a quincunx from Uranus, which is at 28 degrees of Taurus. So Uranus, the great disruptor, has an energy going on with this. And I'm aware that, and I don't want to go into this much at all, but something's just happened in Sydney that people will be aware of by now. And this is Uranus often at work. All of a sudden, you wake up one morning and just something dramatic has just happened, and something changes from that point on.
Mm.
Whatever is the truth of the real story, um, uh, remains to be seen if that's ever really revealed. But it can be Uranus is very much that agent of sudden dramatic change.
Yeah.
Yeah, and shock.
Yeah. Exactly.
The shockwave, like, someone will get up in the morning and another person in the house will say, did you hear what happened? Bang, like that.
Which, of course, Taurus doesn't like. It's
No,
very destabilizing, isn't it?
very destabilizing for Taurus, which is a sign that's all about stability. That's its purpose. So
Mm.
that's right. So Uranus is kind of going to be making its move out of Taurus in April next year. Um, so the day after the new moon, is there anything else you want to say about that?
No, continue.
Okay, so the day after the new moon on the 21st, and remember, we're moving towards the solstice. So we have the new moon on the 20th. On the 21st, there's a lot of interesting movements of
Mm,
planets.
mm,
And then on the 22nd, we have the solstice. So that this period around this week is really quite interesting. So on the 21st, the black moon Lilith will leave Scorpio, where she's been for 9 months. And that has contributed to the intensity of this year.
definitely.
And she will go into Sagittarius on the 21st.
Well, make sure you put her on the party invite, otherwise she's gonna,
Exactly.
gonna be merry.
She won't be happy.
No,
Exactly.
yes.
So the black moon Lilith in Sagittarius is, this is very much about when the feminine is repressed and denied in Sagittarius, and that can happen through things like, religious belief systems. Women aren't allowed to do A, B, C, and D, right? And that's still alive in the world today. Or, we don't want to know what a woman thinks. Her opinion has less value. Sagittarius, the voicing of an opinion or an idea. Or it wasn't long ago that girls weren't considered worthy of an education,
Yeah,
to develop their knowledge and their intellect and their intelligence, or very few women would travel on their own, for example, that kind of thing. Their freedom very, very limited. But when a woman with the Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius has reclaimed that power of the Black Moon represents, the real power, the authentic power, she's unstoppable in Sagittarius. So it's going to be in Sag for 9 months from the 21st. And so, watch out, world. The feminine is rising and she's got things to say, and she's not going to be told what to do. And she's not going to be restricted and limited. She wants to get on a plane and go somewhere, she's going to do it.
yeah,
Well, she's going to have her say, and she's going to speak it loudly, get on a soapbox, give her a microphone. She's got something to say.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's a kind of, Sag to me also has a wild quality to it. It's that wild and free. Think of a horse galloping across a field, with the tail and the mane flying. And, you could almost imagine with the Black Moon Lilith here, a naked woman riding bareback on a horse, galloping wildly across a field or along the beach. It's got that
Yeah,
kind of energy. And anything that tries to control or diminish that is going to get the full fire blast. Remembering, I've just made a connection in that moment, 2026 from the 17th of February will be a fire horse year.
that's right. Yeah.
I
Mm.
just remembered that because that is very fitting with the Black Moon Lilith moving into Sagittarius for 9 months. And we might even, it can show up too there might be some issues going on around horses as well, just literally to do with horses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a few things come together there. I'm just thinking about, what happens with horses when they break their leg, unless a lot of them are put down, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, which sort of represents the killing of the spirit. So there's
Yeah.
also, no, you don't hold that spirit back, it's,
Right.
no, just, yeah, interesting thinking about that. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And, I won't go into it here, of course, but in the mythology, into the mythical story of Lilith, when she's told that she has to obey, she just immediately just challenged that. She says, "What?"
Yes,
And, she must obey and become subservient. And she just refuses to have a bar of that because one of the big features of Sagittarius is freedom, and freedom is like a high priority in this sign. And
yeah,
so she would rather be free and go out into the wilderness in a kind of self-banishment, self-exile, than bow to, an authoritarian kind of overlord energy trying to bear down on her. Yeah.
So
So
this,
those,
I was
go
going to
on.
say, this could have a great influence on some relationships.
Yes,
Definitely.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's a fire sign, there's a lot of fire, and there's a lot of fire energy coming in 2026 in many ways.
Yeah. I was reading something about fires yesterday, and was because you know how we have these terrible bushfires in Australia, but I've there are also fire hawks which actually start fires. They'll pick up a twig from an existing fire and they'll go drop it somewhere to bring the bugs out and small animals so that they can find new food sources. So, and I was trying to equate that with all this fire energy that's going on next year, and some people might be going, whoa, especially water signs, no, stay away, um, and and thinking about that. But it's a very interesting element, fire. Very, very interesting. It has so many facets to it.
Yes. It is, and it does equate to spirit, and I often see Sagittarius as a very high-spirited sign, like a horse is spirited,
Yeah,
and a horse doesn't, willingly allow itself to be tamed, it's, traditionally a horse is, they talk about breaking the spirit of the horse to tame it and put a saddle on it, but there are other ways to work with a horse to invite the horse's cooperation. And
yeah,
that's becoming more known now, isn't it, I think?
yeah. And my father was a horse whisperer. He used
Yes.
to break horses and train horses. And it's all about trust with the
Yeah.
Sagittarius because it's an honest sign.
Honest.
Yeah, so if you show that trust to a Sagittarian and they see your authenticity, then they
Yes.
trust you and then there's cooperation. Yeah.
Yes. That's exactly right. So isn't this interesting? So the Black Moon Lilith going through Sagittarius, and remember it is about the repression of the feminine essentially. So it's around those Sagittarian themes: religion, travel,
Mm,
freedom, truth,
beliefs.
speaking out, not like, you try and censor a Sagittarian who's got something to say, good luck with that because it's, they've just got something to say. And often what they say is worth listening to.
Yeah, and it's also about our beliefs too. What we
Yeah.
believe. Is it true?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on there.
There really is. And of course, next year we'll have Saturn and Neptune going to Aries, Jupiter will go into Leo, eclipses will start occurring in Leo Aquarius. So there's a real change of energy coming in next year.
Well, I'll be glad when Saturn and Neptune get out of Pisces.
So will I. I'm over it.
Will be. Yeah.
I know. Absolutely. So on that same day, I won't go into them all, but there's a lot happening. Uh, the Sun in late Sagittarius will square Neptune before it leaves Sag and goes into Capricorn. Venus will square the Saturn. Jupiter will square Chiron on the same day that Lilith goes into Sagittarius. So there could be I think the new moon the following day and the solstice in
Mm.
that lead up to Christmas is quite a strong few days, actually.
Yeah. And that on the solstice, the 22nd, the sun goes into Capricorn as well.
That's right.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
That's right. And on the 15th of December, Mars went into Capricorn. So Mars is now in Capricorn for this 6-week period.
Yeah.
And on the 22nd, the Sun goes into Capricorn. On the 2nd of January, Mercury goes into Capricorn. Venus on Christmas Day goes into Capricorn. So there's this real shift out of Sagittarius with all
Mm.
the faster moving planets that have been in Sag into Capricorn, a
Mm.
more somber, focused, disciplined, hardworking, serious even.
Yeah. And
Mind you, not all, a lot of Capricorns have a very wicked sense of humor, but it's different to Sagittarius. It's a very different, understated. when Capricorn say something hilariously funny, which they often will, it's often with a really deadpan straight face, and you're not even sure whether they're joking.
Yes, it's a very dry wit.
Very dry wit, very sharp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too sharp sometimes.
Yeah, and it's interesting the number of comedians who are actually Capricorn.
Mm, mm,
You wouldn't expect that, but yeah. Um, So, and of course, the solstice is the day that the sun goes into Capricorn. And so
mm.
there's the turning of the seasons at that time. So it's for us, of course, the peak of summer. And because I'm a summer girl and I like summer, it's always for me a moment, oh my God, so we're kind of going downhill from here. But it's not true because it's still very hot in January, February, March.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
so it can. Yeah, Australia's weather is so extreme. It's amazing.
it is extreme. It is. So on Christmas Day, as I said, Venus will come out of Sagittarius, where you could say she's a bit like a party girl in Sag. I mean, there's more to it than that, but on just a simple level, it's that feminine expression of fun and connection and big spirited adventure. And um, when she goes into Capricorn, it's like, okay, now it's time to get focused. And I do feel that what happens with Capricorn at this time of year, and it goes into January, we start thinking about the year ahead a little bit more seriously. And so things do wind down when we come out of Sagittarius. People are winding down the year. Usually all the parties and celebrations actually happen before Christmas, and often when Christmas actually comes and families are getting together, sometimes it's a great experience, but it's often not, particularly if one person in the family is doing the hosting and they're doing all the work, or there's all sorts of dramas going on in the family.
Yeah,
It can be a tough time because Capricorn is a tough sign.
yeah. I was going to say it can be hard work. Christmas Day can be hard work, or that
Absolutely.
and Boxing Day. Everyone just goes. Well, a lot of people these days celebrate. They don't actually celebrate on Christmas Day because people's lives are all over the place now, not like
Yeah,
they used to be. So that can go on for a week.
that's right.
No,
Family, and a lot of it can be the obligation of catching up with family members. Sometimes it's a willingness, but when it goes on and on, it can start to feel like a bit of a slog and a bit hard work, and you're
yeah,
kind of tired and you just want to break. Where I, in my life at this stage, enjoy really, really quiet time over Christmas. When I was younger and parents were alive and all the grandkids were young, everyone would get together. It would be a big thing, and it was wonderful. It was mostly enjoyable. But now things have changed, and I'm very happy to just keep it very low key. The city
yeah.
goes quiet.
Well, up
It's
until then, though, it's like um, I sort of pull back too because I don't want to go out there because it's too
right.
much, too busy, too much happening.
Yeah.
And I'm the same. I just prefer a quiet time. And for
Mm.
me, it's hard work to go out there. And
It is.
that sense of Capricorn energy starting to come in. It's like, no, it's too hard.
That's right. It takes too much effort. And one of the things about Capricorn, in many ways, it's quite a solitary sign.
Mm, mm,
In Sag, we're outgoing and social. Yeah. Just experiencing life. Capricorn is about bringing the energy back in. It's ruled by Saturn, the planet of contraction, whereas Sagittarius is Jupiter, expansion. We bring the energy back in, we're starting to focus. And very often in Capricorn, we need more solitude and quiet to focus and to get on with what needs doing. So, for example, for me, it'll be a time because I'm taking some time off work. It's been a very big year for lots of reasons. Um, I just want to clean house, completely pull everything out of my office, reorganize, sort out file, like just reorganize to
mm,
prepare for the year and rest and recover and take time out.
mm.
And that's it's a good time to do that because it's Capricorn.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not the fun energy, but it's more about focus and purpose. See,
It,
Venus goes in, what was that?
I was going to say Capricorn has goals.
Right, that's
It's
right.
willing to work to achieve those goals. That's why I often think of it as, head down, tail up, very focused, very hard working because it has those goals in mind, long-term goals in mind.
That's
And
right.
when
And
you say we're getting organised for the year, that's a long-term goal, to
it
get
is.
organised for that year and even the year after sometimes.
That's right. Whereas Sagittarius is living more for now and for the next, adventure. That's exactly right. So Capricorn is the mountain goat climbing the mountain, and he's unwavering in his focus on that goal, whatever the goal is, whether it's spiritual, emotional, family, professional, whatever that sense of goal is and to par things back to eliminate and clear out of the way and get rid of whatever's not about that. So for many people, it's a time when maybe they're not going to be feeling particularly social. Some people will go away and, have a nice holiday away with family and so on. But in many ways, at the same time, they might already be thinking about
Mm,
what's ahead.
mm,
Yeah. So Venus goes into Capricorn on Christmas Day. Um, on the 31st of December, Mercury's coming to the end of Sagittarius, makes a square to Neptune. So for many people, that may simply be, I'd really love to go out to a New Year's Eve party, but actually I'm too tired. I'd rather go to bed. That's the Neptune energy,
mm,
as
mm.
Neptune's coming to the end of Pisces.
So it could be sort of like end of year retrospective, do you think?
Yeah,
To look back and reflect on the year that's gone and um,
that's right.
sort of understand what the year has actually taught us too.
That's right. And that a lot of that happens. You'll see it online and in the media. There's a lot of going back over the year. This is the year that was. And we forget a lot of it because so much happens
Mm,
in a year. And that's a very good point. Capricorn loves to look at the past, they're into history and the past.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What
Um,
worked, what didn't, what needs
that's
to
right.
let go. Not going to.
That's right. That's gonna go. That's right. Um, Then on January the 2nd, Mercury goes into Capricorn. And when Mercury goes into Capricorn, there'll be no more actual planets in Sagittarius.
Mm,
The black moon Lilith will be in Sagittarius, so she will remain in that fire sign. She's not technically a planet, but in terms of actual planets, will be fully out of by January the 2nd, Sagittarius energy.
mm,
On the 3rd, Chiron turns direct in Aries. So Chiron's making his way through the last 3 degrees of Aries throughout 2026 and turning and going direct at 22 of Aries.
mm,
He will begin to really move fairly quickly through Aries over this coming year. And that's also the same date of the full moon in this lunation cycle.
mm,
So the full moon will occur in Capricorn, opposite the sun in the sign of Cancer. Now, there's something very interesting that's coming um, in that week or so after the full moon, or even during the full moon, actually from around the full moon, the sun, Venus, and Mars are all traveling very closely together in the sign of Capricorn from early January through to the middle of January. They're all traveling really closely together, the
mm,
sun, Venus, and Mars.
mm,
Sun, that energy of light, the sun goes through the signs and really focuses a lot of energy on that sign. Venus, the heart energy, the feminine energy of connection, how we express heart, love, energy. In Capricorn, Venus will express in ways that are more like responsible, focused. Her love will be expressed in practical ways.
It'll be about money too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great time, Venus going through Capricorn through much of January, to sort out your finances and
I
get your
was
book under control.
I was going to say, kids, put your hand out for grandma to give you some cash as she goes by.
Right, grandma being Capricorn, the older person.
Yeah, show her love to the grandchildren.
But it's also while she's been in Sagittarius in the lead up to Christmas, it's spend, 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 because Sagittarius loves to spend, it doesn't want limitations, right? And loves the extravagant and the excess of everything. Venus goes into Capricorn, Venus being a very important money planet. Oh my God, I've got to stop spending now and start thinking about a budget or cutting back on expenditure. How many things have I signed up for that cost me so much every month? Do I really need them?
Mm.
Cancel those subscriptions. Take presents back that I didn't want and get the cash instead. It can be all sorts of things like that going on for people. We're just becoming a little more sober.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And those three planets, Mercury eventually catches up to them too, Mercury and Capricorn, doesn't it?
Yes, it absolutely does. But what's really interesting, as they, particularly from around the 7th to the 14th,
Mm.
as they move together, between around 16 and 22 degrees of Capricorn, so right in the middle of Capricorn, they make what was it? An opposition to Jupiter in Cancer and
Oh, yeah.
squares to Chiron in Aries. So that's just really interesting. There's this focus in Capricorn of the Sun, Venus, and Mars, Mars being the planet of action. And Mars is very strong in Capricorn. Mars in Capricorn from mid-December through to the end of January is
Mm.
about hard work and focus and getting, results from your
Mm.
actions that are very purpose driven.
That's right. Yeah.
Mars in Capricorn.
Yeah.
Um, so I just thought that's very interesting that there's this real coming together of those three planets, particularly in the first half of January. Then on the 17th, Venus will leave Capricorn and go into Aquarius.
Mm. I was just going to say before you go on to that, all that Capricorn energy is very consolidating, isn't it? It's bringing things together, like it's like a restriction, but you're just consolidating it all.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It has a certain density, whereas Sag is mutable fire. And
Mm.
it's like here and there and there, I'm doing this, and it tends to burn the candle at every end possible because it doesn't want to miss out on life and experience everything. So it's very mutable, and there's a lot of variety and incredible amount of movement in
Mm.
this mutable fire sign. Capricorn is cardinal earth, and it is a coming together, a condensing
Mm.
of focus. Capricorns are very, very good at doing without
Yes.
when they have their mind and eye on a goal with a project in mind. Okay, I don't need that. That they won't go out, they won't socialize,
Mm.
they won't be extravagant in their spending. I'll do without, I'll do without, I'll do without because I'm focused on that. And I'll achieve my goal by keeping my eye focused there.
And I think too, it has to be aware that with all that Capricorn energy and that complete focus, it can also come across as not a lot of interaction, but in that it can be seen as lacking empathy too. So
Yes.
it's not a soft sign by any means.
No.
Capricorn consolidating into a rock, you know,
Yes.
a rock. It's
And
heavy.
and it yes, and it can be really tough and hard. And Capricorns are tough people,
Mm.
but and they can come across as tough and a bit hard and a bit unbending.
Yeah, I was just thinking of more in their society, like things that are going on in the world might seem very hard.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
And limiting.
yes,
You
yeah.
know, it's the limitations. This sign is ruled by Saturn, the planet of limitations, constraint, constrictions. But there's a thing where that can all sound like a bit, but sometimes eliminating all the extraneous distractions for a period of time can be extremely beneficial. And a
Mm.
lot of creative things can arise out of that if we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by this, that, and the other.
Yeah, it really is a fine balance, I think, you know. Um,
Yeah,
the- um, I'm just thinking about people in general who like that Capricorn energy is focused, like you say, it can be hard. Um, Now I've lost my train of thought. um, yes, that uh, sometimes it can get lost because there's no meaning, if you know what I mean. Because the interacting with the outside world gives us different perspectives, and in that we can draw
that's right.
else in and find meaning. And while Capricorn energy can be tough, people need meaning to endure, and Capricorn needs to it does endure, but it needs meaning, but it doesn't always know that.
That's a very, very good point because in Sagittarius, of course, it's all about meaning.
Absolutely.
That's right. And Capricorn can lose touch with that because it's busy building a structure and a system. And the structure becomes the thing. And if it's not imbued with meaning, then, well, what's the purpose of all
Yeah.
of this? Is it just about achieving a goal? And then you get to the top of the mountain and you go, well, now what?
So you can see how someone like a ruthless business person
Absolutely.
be like that, and sort of pushing people away and just focusing on this, and it doesn't matter that someone, people, 100 people are put off work there, except whatever. But what was the purpose of it?
That's right.
Yeah,
So the goal becomes everything, but that ultimately reaching that goal then becomes meaningless
yeah,
if there's no deeper sense of
yeah,
purpose
yeah.
underlying it. That's right. They can get lost in that. And that often happens in the world of politics. You think about that, like that desire to reach the top of the tree can overtake everything, and that can be very, very ruthless,
Mm, mm,
very ruthless. And I remember when I started learning astrology a long time ago, one of the key word for Capricorn that you used to always see was I use. And Capricorns are very good at making use of limited resources. Great. But that can also be using people
mm.
and circumstances in a very non-compassionate way to get to where they want to go. It's all about getting there. Doesn't matter who they walk over to get there. So in that way, it can become very hard and cold and ruthless. Absolutely. The
Yeah.
presence of Venus here will be helpful, to bring some heart energy into Capricorn,
Mm,
you know? Yeah, yeah.
mm.
Um, all of these things are, of course, about balance in a way, because sometimes we need more Capricorn energy if we are someone who tends to scatter our energy too
Yeah,
easily.
definitely.
Then
Yeah.
Capricorn can help to bring that back in. If we're someone who's only always, obsessed with work and is always, but you'll hear people say that about, oh, my father was a Capricorn and he was never home. He was always working. And when he was home, he was really tough. So there was no love and affection and warmth. But not all Capricorns are like that, but it can express like that.
It's really interesting because I have a distant family member who's a Capricorn, and he's always worked really hard. And and they're willing to work hard. That's the thing with that Capricorn energy.
Yeah.
There's a willingness to do it. And he used to get into work at like 6 o'clock and didn't have to start till 8, wanted to get in there and started working, and then be bored by a certain time because, had to be there till 5. But there was a willingness to really work hard. And I used to think, and very focused. about
Yeah.
material possessions, very
Mm.
focused on that,
Yeah.
there's more to life than just work.
Because one aspect of Capricorn can be about status.
Yes, that's right.
Having a certain sense of a position and a status in a worldly sense, and to be seen to be successful.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, I love watching young children display their astrological nature because it's unfiltered
Yeah.
and it's very natural, it's very simple. And the Capricorn child is the one who from a young age is already thinking about starting up a little business.
Mm,
How can I earn some money? And then they go through school and they're thinking about their future and their career path and what they're going to do. Am I going to take on a trade, or am I going to go to university, or am I going to be an entrepreneur, or go into, they're thinking, they're planning, they're figuring out their pathway. This will show up quite young,
yeah, yeah,
and they apply themselves and work hard to accomplish those goals. It's amazing. It's a complex sign, though, actually. It's not simple.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We better
Mm.
keep on moving. So
Yeah, there's so much to say, isn't there?
I know, I know. So Venus goes into Aquarius. So Aquarius is that air sign. It is about people and big picture and knowledge and intelligence and freedom and so on. And it's a bit of a different, and all the signs that follow each other are always very different to the one before. So after that intense focus of Capricorn in Aquarius, I often get that image of, climbing the mountain in Capricorn. You get to the top of the mountain, and where to from here? We
Mm,
look up to the sky and the universe and the cosmos,
mm,
and start to connect with something beyond just this earthly realm.
yeah.
Um, so Venus in Aquarius is really pretty social, loves to connect with like-minded people in that sort of tribal sense, like these are my people, says Aquarius.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
That's going to go
yeah.
into yeah.
And then that brings us to the new moon on January the 19th at 28 degrees of Capricorn.
Mm, mm,
And again, we're at the end of a sign as all these big planets are changing signs. So these new moon cycles are quite powerful currently. And that one will have a conjunction with Pluto in very early Aquarius.
mm, mm.
And the following day, the sun will go into Aquarius. So we're coming out of Sagittarius season, entering Capricorn season, then we go into Aquarius season.
Yeah.
And if we follow these, rhythms through the year, it's just fascinating.
It's amazing, really, the different themes in those elements of those signs.
Yeah,
It's fire, earth, air,
yeah, yeah. And the energy changes. It just
a lot.
changes. It
Yeah,
does.
a lot.
And this coming year will be a year of tremendous change because there's so like all the planets are just changing signs in a way that we've not seen for I don't know how long, but a long, long time for them all to be changing signs around the same time. And they're very slow moving. So it's quite a phenomenon,
Yeah.
2026. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll see if I can just get to Christmas and then jump to February. I just completely miss all that Capricorn energy in January. Thank you very much.
Right.
Sounds like too much hard work. And,
Right.
and then
Or
I'll
it might just be a time where you just go, okay, I'm just going to have a quiet time now.
be like, oh, phew.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like the Capricorn tendency very often to withdraw into the cave,
Yes. Yeah.
because they just want to focus on their thing, whatever it is their thing is.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's a lot to think about, a lot to percolate on, Babula.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling the weight of that Capricorn energy. Stop it.
I
Go
know, shake it off because we're still in Sag.
shake it up. Shake it up.
Don't put on some dance music.
Not there yet. All right. Well, thank you so much for all of that.
Very welcome.
And everyone who's been with us throughout the year, we really appreciate you sticking with us. And Bill and I both wish you a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and if not, have a wonderful holiday season and enjoy your time with family and friends. And we will see you back next year in January for the next new moon cycle, January 2026, going into the fire horse energy. It's like,
Yeah,
whoa. And
I know.
it's going to be happening much faster next year too.
I know. We thought things were fast now.
I said that the other day. I thought this year went fast. Next year's going to go.
Yeah,
Wow,
it is going to fly.
where
Yeah,
did that
yeah.
go?
So I'd be, encouraging many people to, just take it easy between now and then. Like really take some time out if that's possible for you to
Yeah,
really give yourself that time.
yeah. And if you can next year, take the pedal off the metal in any way that you can,
That's right.
because it's gonna fly.
Yeah.
So until then, we will see you again next time. So stay safe, be well, and see you in 2026.
Happy Christmas, everyone. Bye.
Bye.